Mazda CX-5, Toyota RAV4, and Honda CR-V. Which small crossover SUV should you buy? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Car Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and car ownership. Both the Toyota RAV4 and Honda CR-V are two of the most popular crossovers on the market. And for great reason. Both are known for being extremely reliable, well-made, and safe SUVs to buy. But over the past few years, the Mazda CX-5 has also become a very reliable and safe choice to go for. So which of these three SUVs is the best one to go with? Well, that's what we're going to find out. But before we get into it, remember, if you enjoy or get value out of this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Now let's start things off behind the wheel of the CX-5. Now, even though this is now a 7-year-old design, it has aged remarkably well. It still looks very modern, fresh, and stylish, which just goes to show what a great job Mazda designers have done. But not only is this a stylish SUV, but it's also a very premium feeling one, and that also includes how well it performs, especially when compared to the other two. The base drivetrain is a naturally aspirated 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine that comes connected to a conventional 6-speed automatic transmission with standard all-wheel drive. Mazda has been using this drivetrain for over a decade now and has built a very strong reputation for being very reliable and long-lasting. And because of its mechanical simplicity, not having any turbochargers, a CVT, or a dual-clutch transmission like you find on some other SUVs, it should also have great longevity with very few repair concerns. But not only is this a very reliable and trouble-free drivetrain, but it also has great refinement. It's very smooth and refined, and with 187 horsepower and 187 pound-feet of torque, it also has more than adequate performance. Of course, if you want to have much better performance, then you might want to go with the optional turbo engine. The higher trims come with a turbocharged version of the same 2.5-liter engine that produces 256 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque on premium fuel. You can, however, get away with using regular fuel with a little bit less power, but either way, this is still a very powerful engine. The performance of this engine really blows away both the CR-V and the RAV4, and it really puts the CX-5 much closer to a lot of luxury SUVs in terms of performance, like the Acura RDX or the Lexus NX350. The CX-5 also has a better towing capacity at 2,000 pounds versus around 1,500 pounds for the other two. Unfortunately, even though the CX-5 is a great performing SUV, it is at the bottom of the pack when it comes to fuel economy. The CX-5 is only rated for around 22 to 28 miles per gallon, or 9 to 11 liters per 100 kilometers. And even though the base naturally aspirated engine can do a little bit better, if you want to have much better fuel economy, then you're going to want to take a look at the other two SUVs. And that brings us to the CR-V, which, just like the CX-5, is also available with two different drivetrains. The base drivetrain is a turbocharged 1.5-liter 4-cylinder engine that comes with a continuously variable transmission and a choice of either front-wheel or all-wheel drive. Now, much like the CX-5, this is also a great performing drivetrain. It has just enough performance with around 190 horsepower and 177 pound-feet of torque. It's reasonably quiet and refined. But more importantly, it has really impressive fuel economy. It's able to achieve up to around 35 miles per gallon, or close to 7 liters per 100 kilometers, which is really impressive for an SUV of this size. Now, in terms of reliability and repair concerns, this drivetrain is not quite as good as the one in the CX-5. In the past, it has had some issues when it comes to oil dilution and carbon buildup, but if you maintain it properly and do a lot of long-distance highway driving, you should still get great reliability out of it. But when it comes to the CR-V, I think the much better drivetrain option to go with is the available hybrid. The CR-V Hybrid has a naturally aspirated 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that comes connected to 2 electric motors, no transmission, and a choice of either front-wheel or all-wheel drive in the US, or standard all-wheel drive in Canada. This is a very impressive hybrid system when it comes to performance, with 204 horsepower and 247 pound-feet of torque, more power than you get with the base turbo engine. And you also get much better fuel economy, up to around 40 miles per gallon or 6 liters per 100 kilometers. And not only does it have better performance and better fuel economy, but Honda is also known for making very reliable hybrid systems as well. So in terms of reliability, longevity, but also performance and fuel economy, there's no question, the CR-V Hybrid is the one to go for. And that brings us to the Toyota RAV4. Now, unlike the other two, the RAV4 has 3 different drivetrains that you can choose from. The standard drivetrain is a naturally aspirated 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine that comes with an 8-speed conventional automatic transmission and a choice of either front-wheel or all-wheel drive in the US, or standard all-wheel drive in Canada. Now, just like the one in the CX-5, this is a very well-proven drivetrain when it comes to its reliability, longevity, and having very few repair concerns. You have a simple naturally aspirated engine and a conventional automatic transmission, both of which Toyota has been using in a number of models for many years now, and they are very well proven when it comes to their reliability. And just like the 1.5 turbo engine in the CR-V, this drivetrain does get pretty impressive fuel economy, certainly better than that of the CX-5. But on the other hand, even though this engine does produce more power than the base engines in the other 2 SUVs, with just over 200 horsepower, it certainly doesn't feel like it. It feels a little bit more underpowered, and it also has not as good refinement. It's definitely the noisiest engine in this group, especially when you're pushing it hard. But on the plus side, if you want to get better refinement and better performance, you do have the choice of the available RAV4 Hybrid. The RAV4 Hybrid also has a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine, only it comes attached to 2 electric motors up front, along with a 3rd electric motor at the back wheels, giving you standard all-wheel drive. And with the boost of those electric motors, the RAV4 Hybrid produces a little bit more power with 219 horsepower, but more importantly, it's just quieter and more refined to drive. Of course, the biggest benefit with the RAV4 Hybrid, much like the CR-V, is the fuel economy. It's able to achieve around 40 miles per gallon, or 6 liters per 100 kilometers, which of course is very impressive. And as with the standard drivetrain, Toyota's hybrid system is extremely well proven when it comes to long-term reliability. So much like the hybrid option in the CR-V, the RAV4 Hybrid is basically a win-win scenario in almost every single way. And unlike the other 2 SUVs in this group, the RAV4 is also available as a plug-in hybrid with the RAV4 Prime. Now, the RAV4 Prime uses the exact same hybrid system as the regular RAV4, only with a much more powerful electric motor and a much larger hybrid battery pack. And that allows it to travel on pure electric power around 42 miles or 68 kilometers when fully charged. And because of those larger, more powerful electric motors, the RAV4 Prime also produces a lot more power, just over 300 horsepower when compared to 219 horsepower in the regular RAV4 Hybrid, which makes it the quickest SUV in this group. Now let's move on to the way these SUVs feel and drive on the road, and here we have some major differences between them as well. Going back to the CX-5, this one is without question the sportiest feeling one in this group. Maybe because of its slightly smaller overall size, it just feels a little bit more nimble and more agile to toss around. It has really good body control and really nice balance, which is something that Mazda is really well known for. Now, the suspension does feel a little bit firmer than the other 2, but I certainly would not call it uncomfortable. In terms of both handling and comfort, the CX-5 does have a really nice balance, but not quite as well balanced as the CR-V. Compared to the CX-5, the CR-V is just a little bit more quiet, more refined, and just does a better job of absorbing the bumps on the road. But not only is the CR-V a little bit more comfortable, but it doesn't really sacrifice that much when it comes to handling either. So in terms of its ride handling balance, this is a really well-tuned SUV. And then you have the RAV4, which unfortunately seems to be a little bit behind the other 2 SUVs in this area. Although it is perfectly fine and perfectly comfortable enough to drive every day, it's not quite as well tuned as either the CX-5 or the CR-V. But then again, the differences between these 3 SUVs are really not that noticeable on a daily basis, but there are some major differences when it comes to the interiors. The CX-5 seems to have the most premium feeling interior of this group. It has really nice materials, excellent fit and finish, and it also offers the most color options to choose from. You can choose between a black or a pure white leather interior, a 2-tone terracotta like my test car here, a dark brown, and even a red leather interior, which makes this feel like a proper luxury SUV. I also like how the CX-5 has very clear gauges, a very straightforward control setup, and a very well-designed infotainment system. Not being a touchscreen, however, you do have to use the rotary dial on the center console, which does take more time to get used to when compared to the other 2 SUVs. The interior of the CR-V has most of the same benefits of the CX-5, with excellent build quality, fit and finish, and really great use of materials. And although you can only get it with one color choice, a plain black interior, it does have a very straightforward control setup, much like the CX-5. And the infotainment system, being a simple touchscreen, is also much easier to use. And much like the CR-V, the RAV4 also has a rather straightforward, well-designed interior that doesn't take that long to get used to. And the control setup and touchscreen infotainment system are well-designed and straightforward to use. All three of these SUVs are also extremely well equipped, and they come with a lot of great active safety technology as standard equipment. They also all have really high safety ratings from the IIHS, and are all top safety picks, which is really great to see. Where there is a major difference between these SUVs, however, is the interior space and the cargo space. And this is where the CX-5 really falls behind the other two. It just doesn't have as much interior space, especially in the rear seats, when compared to the other two. And even though the back seats do fold down really easily, it also has the smallest cargo area. And on the other end, we have the CR-V, which is the roomiest SUV in this group, with plenty of room in both the front and rear seats, and also the largest cargo area. The RAV4 is quite spacious and accommodating as well, but not quite as good as the CR-V. So when it comes to being the most practical, the most family-friendly, and ultimately the most spacious, the CR-V is the winner in that area. And now I think it's time to move on to the pricing. The CX-5 is priced from around $30,000 to $42,000 US, or around $34,000 to $47,000 Canadian. The RAV4 is priced from around $30,000 to $40,000 US, or around $36,000 to $47,000 Canadian, with around $2,000 to $3,000 more if you want to get the hybrid over the regular gas engine. And then we have the CR-V, which is priced around $31,000 to $36,000 US with the standard engine, or around $35,000 to $40,000 with the hybrid. And in Canada, it's priced from around $37,000 to $46,000 for the regular engine, and $48,000 to $51,000 for the hybrid. Fortunately though, whichever one of these SUVs you decide to go with, they all have a very strong reputation when it comes to their reliability, low cost of ownership, and they're also known for holding their value extremely well over time. So ultimately, you are getting value no matter which one you buy. But even though all three of these SUVs are excellent choices, which one is ultimately the best one to go for? Well, that really depends on what your priorities are. If you're looking for the most stylish, the most luxurious feeling, or maybe the best performance and sportiest feeling SUV in this group, then without question, the best choice to go for is the CX-5. But it also has the worst fuel economy. You can't get it with a hybrid, and it also has the most cramped interior and the least amount of cargo space. And then on the opposite end, you have the Toyota RAV4, which, although it's not quite as nice to drive as the CX-5, and it doesn't feel quite as premium either, it does have much better fuel economy, especially if you go for the hybrid. It has a solid reputation when it comes to its quality, reliability, has a very good safety score, and it offers the best value in this group as well. And then there's the CR-V, which seems to combine the best qualities of the other two SUVs. It feels very comfortable and excellent to drive. It has great performance and fuel economy, especially if you go for the hybrid. And it also has the most interior space and cargo space in this group. Unfortunately, it's not quite as good of a value as the other two SUVs, but in some ways it might be worth it. Which of these three SUVs would I go for? Well, if I didn't want to have a hybrid and just wanted a conventional gas-powered SUV, I would go with the Mazda CX-5. Fortunately, in this group, all are excellent choices to go for, and you really can't go wrong. So which of these three SUVs would be your top choice? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also check out my other car videos by clicking these links over here. Make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram. And if you need any additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal on your next new car purchase, make sure to visit carhelpcan.com. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.